All right, here's a quick one. Louisiana food stamp program threatened with shutdown. Louisiana will end the food stamp program that helps nearly 1 in 5 state residents by January, unless lawmakers add more money to next year's budget for Social Services Agency. The Department of Children and Family Services is slated to take a cut around $34 million in the budget passed by lawmakers in the last special session. The agency says it will force it to shutter the food stamp program in 2019 because it won't be able to pay for administration of the federally funded benefits. 19% of Louisiana residents receive assistance from food stamp program. About half of them are children. 19%, 1 in 5. Wow. Governor John Bel Edwards is calling lawmakers into a 10-day special session on taxes later this month to try to fill the gaps in next year's budget. All right, folks, it's happening. It's going to happen. We'll see how the Trump administration handles it. All right, here's another one in the same vein. Federal housing plan would raise rents for poor by 20%. Housing Secretary Ben Carson says his latest proposal to raise rents would mean a path towards self-sufficiency for millions of low-income households across the United States by pushing more people to find work. For Ebony Morris and her 4 small children, it could mean homelessness. Morris lives in Charleston, South Carolina, where most households receiving federal housing assistance would see rents rise an average of 26%. According to an analysis done by Center on Budget and Policy Priorities for the Associated Press, her increase would be nearly double that. Overall, the analysis shows that in the 100 largest metropolitan areas, low-income tenants, many of whom have jobs, would have to pay roughly 20% more each year for rent under the plan. That's about 6 times greater than the growth in average hourly earnings, putting poor workers at increased risk of homelessness because wages haven't kept pace with housing expenses. I saw public housing as an option to get on my feet, to pay 30% of my income and get myself out of debt, and eventually become a homeowner, said Morris, whose rent would jump from $403 to $600, but this would put us in a homeless state. In the Portland area, the rent increase amounts to an average of 15.6% or $590 a year, the analysis found. Roughly 4 million low-income households receiving HUD assistance would be affected by the proposal. HUD estimates that about 2 million would be affected immediately, while the other 2 million would see rent increases phased in after 6 years. The proposal, which needs congressional approval, is the latest attempt by the Trump administration to scale back the Social Safety Net, under the belief that being less generous will prompt those receiving federal assistance to enter the workplace. It's our attempt to give poor people a way out of poverty, Carson said in a recent interview with Fox News. The analysis shows families would be disproportionately impacted. Of the 8.3 million people affected, more than 3 million are children. Morris, a pediatric assistant, said she sometimes works 50 hours a week just to get by. Her 4 young children will be hit hard if her rent increases, she said. Food, electricity, school uniforms, she said, internet for homework assignments and report cards, all of their reading modules at school require the internet. Without it, they'll be behind their classmates. The kids are in extracurriculars. That would be scrapped. I would struggle just to pay my bills. The impact of the plan would be felt everywhere. Rent for the poorest tenants in Baltimore, where Carson was a neurosurgeon at Johns Hopkins Hospital, where his own story of overcoming poverty inspired generations of children, could go up by 19% or $800 a year. In Detroit, where Carson's mother, a single parent, raised him by working 2 jobs, rents could increase by $710 or 21%. Households in Washington, D.C., one of the richest regions in the country, would see the largest increases, $980 per year on average, a 20% hike. This proposal to raise rents on low-income people doesn't magically create well-paying jobs needed to lift people out of poverty, said Diane Yentel, CEO of the National Low-Income Housing Coalition. Instead, it just makes it harder for struggling families to get ahead by potentially cutting them off from the very stability that makes it possible for them to find and keep jobs. While the Department of Housing and Urban Development says elderly or disabled households will be exempt, about 314,000 households could lose their elderly or disabled status and see higher rents, according to the analysis by the Policy Center, which advocates for the poor. Carson's Make Affordable Housing Work Act, announced April 25th, would allow housing authorities to impose work requirements, would increase the percentage of income that tenants are required to pay from 30 to 35%, and would raise the minimum rent from $50 to $150. This would eliminate deductions for medical care, child care, and for each child in a home. Currently, families can deduct $480 per child, significantly lowering rent. Donald Cameron, president and CEO of the Charleston Housing Authority, calls the proposal catastrophic. We lose a lot of people within a very short time, the ones with the smallest pocketbooks and the least discretionary income, he said. Not all recipients of housing assistance think the plan is unfair. I'm in favor of it, said Shalonda Skinner, 29, who lives in public housing with her 5 children. Housing helps a lot of people. It will probably put a good amount of people out because some people don't like to work, but they're not independent. But it's fair. If her rent were to go up, she said, I'd work more, taking on more hair clients. Melissa Maddox Evans, general counsel for the Charleston Housing Authority, said she believes the proposal is based on a faulty premise. Most public housing residents don't have jobs and that rent increases will incentivize work. Most tenants here work 2 or 3 jobs, she said. When they are going out and finding work, are they going to make enough to accommodate that increase? The Policy Center conducted its analysis based on 2016 HUD data. It includes tenants living in public housing and receiving Section 8 and project-based vouchers. It excludes housing authorities participating in the Moving to Work program, which allows districts to determine their own distinct rent policies. Oh, it's happening, sweetheart. It is happening. This is something that we've been talking about for like a couple years. It's Trump coming in with the budget that we have and him giving away money to the international corporations. The money's got to come out of somewhere, and it's going to come out of the hides of people. So it's going to come out of the safety net. They can't completely cut the safety net, but the thing is they can start fraying it around the edges, which is what they are doing. It's something that's been coming for a long time. Obama actually delayed this for a very long time, but it was handed over to the Republicans, and the Republicans will cut. The Democrats don't like to have that kind of reputation on their books because they're supposed to be quote unquote bleeding heart liberals, which they're not, but that is the reputation they want to uphold. So, but they don't mind helping out the Republicans actually do this because you don't really hear the Democrats screaming a whole lot. Because everybody that's in Washington, D.C. know that this is something that's going to have to come. So it's better to do it now while a Republican is in office, especially somebody that's not very well liked like Donald Trump, rather than if a Democrat gets in office and has to do it. But it is what it is, folks. For all the ladies and the black women still out there on public assistance and doing this kind of stuff, I don't know what you're going to do because as much as we like to think that there are jobs for these people to go to, there really isn't. And if automation hits the way I think it's going to hit, there's going to be even less. And a lot of people are going to be in a catch-22. That's just me reading the tea leaves. I hope I'm wrong. You know, when it comes to stuff like this, I really hope I'm wrong. You know, I don't do this out of glee. I always hope that I'm wrong. But unfortunately, when it comes to stuff like this, I very seldom am. But take from this what you will. Do your own homework. Do your own research. Don't just depend on me. Because the livelihood you save may be your own. And when them poor relatives that can't quite make it, and are threatened to be homeless, guess who they're going to come live with? Yeah. So it's everybody's problem. So with that, I'm going to jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I will see you guys on the next one.